a second. Sorry. Am I thinking I'm going the wrong way? What the hell am I going? What is it? I know where I'm going. At least I think I know where I'm going. This chick was gonna take a bus all the way here? Like, that would have taken, I don't even understand. Taking a bus to come here to get something, and then I guess she was gonna take the bus home. It would have been a long ass day. But this must be for her kids. You know, wrestling stuff. I love the idea of selling trash. Selling the shit that at any other time in history would have been thrown away. Also grateful to have a driver, because you know the driver makes it easier. Where am I heading to go sell a woman the kids' old wrestling toys? So toys that normally would have been thrown away or given away can now be sold, and it's fantastic. It's a fantastic, fantastic thing that not only can you sell your trash, but somebody else can get something, you know, this is for her kids. She's getting an incredible deal. The amount, like, this is like $300 worth of shit. She's getting it for $100, so. Plus the driving fee. And one of the guys is actually pretty collectible, Ricardo Rodriguez, with the microphone. I'm just happy to be getting rid of it. Some more stuff to get rid of. You know, you post it out online and just wait. Especially now, you know, with Christmas time being what it is. Absolutely. Try to help other people. I mean, that's how you got to look at it. You're helping other people out who are less fortunate, who want some of the things that you have. You got a crane, giant crane. Can't afford it. When you have young kids too, it's great because they don't give a shit about that kind of stuff. They don't care if it's new, they just want it. Cody Rhodes, Cody Rhodes. Yeah, I guarantee my kids would be more into wrestling to this day if there wasn't women's wrestling. Because women's wrestling is just so awful, and boring, and just totally, you know, takes away from the show and what would be a much better product. It's the weirdest feeling to be, you know, I'm so pro-women. I'm so absolutely, positively pro-women, pro-equality, you know, all that. But to me, equality is not just the good parts. Equality is the bad part that most men experience way more than women do, so they have no concept of it. But with men, if men aren't good enough, they don't get it. They don't get the promotion, they don't get the job in general. You know, like if male performers put on the absolute ass performance that females put on, they'd get fired. Somebody better would be waiting in the wings who can do a better job and produce a more realistic looking product, and they'd be gone. But because it's the females, it's like, oh, well, you're good for a girl, so you're allowed to continue. And that's not equality. That's like pity. I mean, I'd be the first one if the girls put on a convincing show. Like, I think the females at One Championships are a lot of them are really great to watch. You know, the Muay Thai fighters and whatnot. I wouldn't watch an entire card of theirs, but as far as being forced into watching female sports, female combat, whatever, like, at least that's decent, you know. And it's because they're so roided out. It's just insane. You know, the one championship clearly doesn't test their people, so it makes for some really insane, incredible fights. This thing wants me to go in a different direction. I'm like, no, I don't want to go in that direction. Nagger. Cody Rhodes. But like the WNBA is such a joke. Lots of women use that pity as a tool. Exactly. And I don't blame them. Like, if they're going to be allowed to use it, since obviously they can't, that's what they have at their disposal. That's the thing, the tool that they have at their disposal is that pity. And if we give them that tool and we say, okay, well, I will absolutely, you know, let you do things that I wouldn't let other people just because you're a female. Like, if we didn't let that happen, then it wouldn't happen. If we didn't live in this crazy ass PC world that's backwards as fuck. Because again, if I say to you, what you do isn't good enough to warrant my attention, you don't get to say, you're just saying that because I'm a girl and blah, blah. No, you're not good enough. Like, why wouldn't I much rather watch females, especially if they're good looking? Of course I would rather watch females do stuff. But when I'm watching sports, I'm not looking at it from a sexual perspective. I'm looking at it from an athletic supremacy perspective. If I'm going to put my time into you, watching you, I want to see what is the best. I want to see shit that I don't think I could beat. Especially in my younger days. But like, there's a video, just it's newer, but it's professional women's a group of professional women basketball players who have made it to the professional level where they get paid to play, took on a group of high school boys, and then in the next video they took on a group of middle school boys. And the high school boys were pretty dominant, but the middle school boys, they beat the women in almost every, like, they did a whole bunch of like little mini side quest kind of things before the actual game. And the middle school boys beat the girls like, you know, 4 out of the 6 times out of the 6 trials. The middle school boys won. And then when they actually played the game, these women were a lot bigger than these boys. And they were pushing them around and fouling them and talking like mad shit. One point, one of the biggest broads on the team sets a hard pick against one of the smallest kids on the team. And she's like, "Oh, you're so weak. Why are you so weak?" To a little middle school boy. Like, you're already emasculating him. Now you're going to do that shit? And it's only because you're bigger than him? If you weren't bigger than him, you wouldn't be able to do that. Because you're a female. But the females actually beat the middle school boys in the game to 21, but it was like 18 to 21. The middle school boys almost won. They just buckled under the pressure. If it weren't for the pressure and all the fouls and the shit talk and all that, you know, if there would have been a reasonable... See, again, the ref that's there is letting it go because the females are looking so bad and that they're letting calls and shit go that they wouldn't let go if it was men doing it to like if it think about it, if it was a group of male basketball players from the professional level going against a team of girls, you know, middle school girls basketball team, and they knocked a girl down and got in her face like, why are you so weak? That guy would be vilified across the world. He would be the worst of the world. How dare a grown man do that to a little girl? Like, girls, you know, women, you don't want that equality. You definitely don't want equality when it comes to accountability. Like in that situation, you don't hear a bunch of women knocking down the door saying, hey, get that broad. That broad needs to be held accountable for what she did, for basically the assault she levied against that kid. Because this was a kid. This kid was 12 or 13. And this was a grown-ass woman, a big 6-foot-plus woman. And like I said, this kid was one of the smaller ones on the team. But they just kept fouling and kept fouling. And then when the boys would call it, they'd be like, oh, stop being such a pussy. Play through the fouls. Why are you calling all the fouls? But if the boys fouled, they'd be so quick. Foul! That was a foul. Oh, man, it was so embarrassing. Like, if I'm a female, I am so embarrassed by that. It's kind of like Trump supporters, right? If I'm a Trump supporter, I'm even more embarrassed by Trump than a non-supporter. Because that's my guy. That's where I'm putting my voucher. And he looks like a fucking moron. If a guy knocked a girl down, he would apologize even if it wasn't his fault. Of course. Of course he'd have to. And if he didn't, it would be like, you know, he's a woman beater and all that other shit. Again, equality is one of those things that people only really want the good parts of. You know, females only want the good parts of it. They still want the man to pay for the food. How many videos exist? Seriously, just look it up on YouTube. Look up how many videos exist of a woman getting mad because a dude, you know, went out to eat with her and suggested or expected her to pay for her side of things. Well, why'd you ask me out then? I asked you if you wanted to go get some food. I didn't say, hey, let me take you out. Ugh. But like they don't like the idea that aspect of things is changing. Women still want chivalry. You should check out our song Ronda Rousey Sucks. It's really all about that. It's all about this double standard and this bullshit narrative that females claim they want, but they don't. You know, every time there's some sort of crime that takes place and a male and a female are caught, when the female gets a lighter sentence, you never see the feminists come out demanding she be treated as a man would, demanding she get the same sentence the man would. That shit never happens. You never see women demanding that they get the negative side of things that men would, the equal negative side. And every one of those fucking goofy ass super feminists with their short little hair and all that shit, as soon as the shit gets rough, as soon as there's an opportunity to, like, you know, get off the boat first, they're going to be the first ones to be like, well, I'm a little girl. Look, I'm crying. I'm a girl. You see that shit constantly. If you ever watch, like, Master Chef, or really any of those competition shows, where the girls act like they are, we're just as good as the men at anything. We're just as good. We're just as good. Blah, blah, blah. They love saying that shit. And they love pushing that narrative. But yet, as soon as shit doesn't go their way, they're the first ones to start crying. Trying to play the the woman card. Trying to play the, and they all think that if you watch First Amendment auditors, you see it too, where 90% of the time, sometimes the hot chick gets mad, but usually the hot chick doesn't care that somebody just happens to be filming something and then they walk through it. It's the fat chick, it's the goofy chick that's always like, oh, what are you filming? Why are you filming? I don't know what you're going to do with that. Like somebody wants to film her nasty fat ass and jerk off to it. But they always think that. They're always also the ones that think everybody wants their man. They can't, it's not that, they claim that, it's not that I don't trust my man because he'll just fuck anything. No, it's not that. It's that I don't trust these females out here. Because females are just going to throw themselves at your goofy ass man. If you're the best he can do, nobody's throwing themselves at him. I got a cousin like that. What? Thinks everybody wants to fuck her man or his girl or whatever? It's embarrassing, man. It's embarrassing how stupid people can be. Fuck. I don't think this is the right way to go. I think this thing might be a little confused. I don't see the road it thinks I'm supposed to go down. Oh, that's because it's up there. I'm looking at things wrong. Makes sense. Nobody would give her 2 looks. Well, the thing is, like, dudes will fuck anything. It's actually really crazy. So, I have a neighbor who is, she's nice and all, but she's like, she might be 5 feet tall. I don't even know if she's 5 feet tall, but she's relatively overweight. She's pretty fat, and she's literally retarded. Like, she's not autistic. I'm not saying she's literally, there was a something went wrong at some point in her upbringing, or at very young age, and very, very young age, and it caused retardation, and it's not like she comes from Rhodes Scholars anyway. But when this girl wants to, she gets laid more than most. I mean, there were times where we would just be shocked because every day there'd be a new car leaving in the morning. And because she's retarded, because she's vulnerable, she's had like 6 abortions. And the only reason she's had 6 abortions is because for years, she had a baby when she was like 17 or 18, who her mother ended up having to basically be the caregiver for both. And then as the girl turned like 15, 16, 17, started, at like 12, she was already older than her mother mentally. And so there was all these issues. There's a lot of issues. And I can only imagine how difficult that would be to know that your mom's retarded. Like, that would be just weird. And she's not. The girl wasn't. But the system wouldn't let her mom like get an abortion. Get her tube stopped. The system was like, no, you just have to keep letting her get abortions. $400 a pop. I don't even know if it's still I would imagine it's probably more nowadays. But $400 a pop, at least, that's a house payment, or that's a jet ski payment that they don't want to let go of. And the fact that they made this woman basically keep having unwanted babies because it would just be some piece of shit, hood rat, whatever. Like to me, I personally, I don't see how you could find her attractive. Like, she's just not attractive. Even if she wasn't retarded, she wouldn't be attractive to me. But as soon as you talk to her and you actually like realize what you're dealing with, if you find that attractive still, there's something way, way wrong with you. Incredibly. There's something incredibly wrong with you. And that was always the thing with me, was like, she is like I say, she's nice. I don't at all talk bad about her. Like, I actually had to beat up another neighbor once, or at least put him in line once, because he was trying to start some shit with her. Like, I look at her at this point, I've known her for fucking 15 years, almost 12 years. I look at her like she's my retarded little sister, and it bothers the shit out of me that anybody tries to take advantage of her. But when it comes to the sexual aspect, there's nothing I can do about that. That's a woman. Legally, she's a woman. She can make those decisions on her own. But the fact that society tried to act like, religious. It was religious reasons why she couldn't get the abortion, because that's playing God's work, and her mom would be like, "What the fuck are you talking about? She's just gonna get pregnant again. Why are you forcing us into a situation where we have to keep dealing with her getting pregnant?" And they didn't care. And then it was a few years ago, so she's probably 35 or so now. I don't know how old she is. She's probably close to that. And it was a couple of years ago she got pregnant, and she was going to keep it. She was like, "No, I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it." And nobody was real sure who the dad was going to be. And like so her mom is with her stepdad. She got married to another guy, and he's cool and all, but he's pretty racist. Like, he's racist in the, I don't want my family mixing. Like, he's not cool with miscegenation in that regard in his family. And there was a pretty good chance that this baby was going to be a little heavy. And that was sort of a big deal. But thankfully, she got morning sickness. And the morning sickness was too much for her. She didn't want to deal with the morning sickness. So she was like, forget it. I'm just going to have the abortion. Think about that. Think about the mentality. That the government thought that a woman who thinks morning sickness is a reason to have an abortion should be allowed to continue to get pregnant. And again, you can hate her all you want. She's retarded. Her brain doesn't work right. She has a woman's body and a woman's needs, but a child's mind. The mind of like a 7-year-old maybe, in some respects, in like emotional and all that kind of respect. Yeah, she can go to work, and yeah, but from a getting it down to the core kind of thing, just not there. And it's to me, it's just, I just can't imagine why anybody would ever, like, what needs to happen here in our social lexicon is we need to eliminate the narrative that busting a nut is the most important thing you can do. Too many guys out here think that that the most important thing in the world is to bust that nut. Why am I going this way? That sucks. But the need to bust a nut is why there's so much rape in this world, is why there's, guys will stalk another chick and all this other shit, because we're taught that, you gotta bust that nut. Busting the nut is the most important thing. Gotta bust that nut. And it's like, it's not, it's cool. It's all right, yay, busted it. It's like, when you compare our orgasms to female orgasms, it's not even close. We got to do all the work, and then we get that little 5-second, oh my goodness, okay, all right, now I'm tired. Yeah, it's cool. Especially in a marking your territory kind of way, I guess. I don't know. But to think that it's worth what we've turned it into is just crazy. It's crazy that people will commit crimes and just all kinds of craziness over 5 seconds. The fuck is 5 seconds? You can do it yourself. It doesn't feel as good. In different ways. You can definitely do it better than anybody else can. But it's always better to include someone else. But I don't understand. Getting there is fun, for sure it's fun. And the only reason it's fun, what is fun about somebody who's all inexperienced, insecure, shy, especially if they don't want to be there, so they're not like into it? To me, the sexiest things in the world are confidence and enthusiasm. That's why there are fat chicks out there that get laid all the time, because they're confident and they're enthusiastic in what they do. They're confident that that's some good pussy there, and if they put it on you, boy, you'll never want something else. You know, that level of enthusiasm and confidence is infectious. It's sexy. But nowadays, you know, and you get that, like, you know, I love the idea that females are allowed to be that way now. They don't have to pretend to be these meek little creatures who don't enjoy sex and don't, you know, have fantasies and all that shit. Hell yeah, bitch, lay it out. Let's hear what you got. Good God, where the fuck am I going? But like I say, the best thing about sex to me is always her. Fuck, I knew I should have gone there. Fuck! No, I'm way out of line, way off. Shit didn't work very well now, did it? Oh, now you adjusted. You stupid motherfucker. I can't believe how crazy this is. How far I'm going, I didn't think I was going this far. Fuck. Don't you ever get too comfortable. I don't know. I really, we need to do that. Like, we need to put reality into perspective. And, you know, guys, like, you're gonna pay money and risk getting who knows what so you can bust a nut inside a prostitute? Are you out of your fucking mind? It doesn't get much nastier than a prostitute. What the fuck are you doing? And you think that's worth it? To have somebody pretend to like you? Like, how hard up are you? Now, you know, I always bring up an old friend of mine, Rajiv, because Rajiv was like, he was that guy that I would just, you know, he wanted to be with a 10 so badly that he would spend unthinkable amounts of money at the strip club. And that was literally the only way he could ever get girls that looked like he wanted them to look to pay attention to him, because he was a fat, you know, goofy ass Indian guy who looked like he owned a quickie store or some shit, or looked like he could fix your computer, which he could do. All depends on how much you paid for. No, it doesn't. That's disgusting. Again, why would you ever need fake affection? It's fake. I can't imagine what the appeal of any sort of engagement with that situation could possibly be. What are you getting out of that? Really, that 10-second nut is worth it to you? That is just fucking weird. I don't know, maybe it's just because I've gotten laid a bunch of times in my life and, you know, had my share of opportunities and options. Now, I can't say well, I don't know. I've had a couple of really hot girlfriends. And when my wife was younger, she was fucking smoking hot. But like, you know, and that comes with its own shit. You know what sucks about having a hot chick for a girlfriend? Looking at her while you're having sex with her. Because you start thinking, holy shit, is she hot? I can't believe this chick is fucking me. Oh goodness. Sorry about that. And depending on how you handle that, that's not an end-all, be-all. But that's another one of those things that we're not taught to handle. We're not taught how to deal with that. You tell her, I'm sorry, you're super fucking hot. I'm just so grateful to actually be able to get a piece of this. So thank you so much. Give me 5 minutes and I'll be ready to go again. But yeah, that's your fault. Sorry you're so fucking hot. I might lose you guys here. We're out in the boom booms. Why would you want something anyone else could buy? Well, I mean, yes, but at the same time, like you can't be that guy that like gets all weird. Like, you should never ask your broad how many dudes she's been with. Whether you're the guy that can handle it or the guy that can't, you just don't want to know, and you share anyway. But there's lots of dudes out there that can't handle the idea, and it's pushed a lot. Like, you get incels like fucking Nick Fuentes, who basically preaches that women are disgusting and gross if they've had sex. And I just, stupidity in wanting a virgin. Why would you ever want a virgin? They don't know what they're doing. You know, there's that show, the Gypsy. I haven't actually watched that shit in a while. The Gypsy Bride show, and it's shocking that this is still such a prominent thing where, you know, like as a community, they're still pushing teenage girls to get together with teenage boys, a lot of times much older than them boys, but still. And it's such a weird, like, the boys are allowed to go have sex and do whatever they want before they're married, but the girls aren't. The girls aren't even allowed to leave the house by themselves. They're property. You know, one of the girls even said it, you know, tonight I'm still my daddy's girl, but tomorrow I'm going to be his girl. I'm going to belong to him. Like, how brainwashed do you have to be? And granted, I do see, like, some good parts to that community. I think there are some good... That's funny. Like, oh, look at me, I'm here. Yeah, I would expect my shit to go in and out here. This is out in the middle of nowhere. But at my house, ooh, yeah! Nobody's here anymore. Everybody's quit on the feed, and I don't blame you. It's hard enough to watch this shit without it going in and out. Now it's 2 seconds. That's shocking. Oh, I'm gonna have to let you guys go anyway, so I can figure out, put in the directions to get to where I need to go next. You know, because it's just how it goes. Iron mics. Iron mics. That's your clue. You can call the police and tell them the drug dealer is near Iron Mike's gonna go sell some drugs. You know how you guys like to do stupid shit like that. Anyway, it's not working, so I'll see you fucks later. Have yourself a wonderful day, and pedophiles, kill yourself.